Good evening. Welcome and thank you for being here with us for our third HNTB New York Office Associate Partners Program Industry-Specific Small Group Event Series session. This event will center on architecture firms. If you need closed captions, please click the CC button or select captions from the More menu at the bottom of your screen. Additionally, we will be recording this event until we reach the Q&A portion, so we ask that you remain on mute until then. Please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. There will also be a chance for you to introduce yourselves during the Q&A portion. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce HNTB Vice President and Deputy New York Office Leader, Lori Katzman. Lori?
Thank you. Not only am I the Deputy Office Leader for our New York office, but I'm proud to say I lead our Associates Partners program here in the New York office. And this program is part of a larger national HNTB Partners program where we focus on meaningful partnerships with businesses like yours run by women, people of color, and veterans. We are committed to supporting your growth and your success. So this small group series was developed in response to a survey that we did last year. We wanted to better understand how to enhance our support of MW and DBE firms. And what we found from a lot of the responses is that people really wanted to meet in these smaller, more specific type groups where they can learn about priorities, upcoming opportunities, partnership opportunities, and how to better prepare for RFPs and for contract work. So our primary objective in these series is that they be practical and actionable, and that we can work to assist you all in building and us in building strong teams. So it's really great to be a part of this effort because we together will advance our collective goals, will build successful and lasting partnerships with your small and disadvantaged business partners. Tonight, you're going to meet my fellow colleagues, Jeremy Sass. He's Associate Vice President and Project Director. He is also the Department Manager for our Architecture Department here in New York. And Thomas Grassi, he's Associate Vice President, Project Director for our Transportation, Architecture, and Infrastructure Group. And also Monica Durney, our Associate Vice President and the New York Office Finance Manager. So today you'll learn more about upcoming sub-consultant opportunities and how to best prepare for them. One thing I wanted to repeat is we ask you to save your questions for the Q&A portion. We left plenty of time for that. You can do them, like we said, during the chat or with the raise your hand feature. We'll ask you to introduce yourself, your firm, the name of your company, your size, a brief description about the work that you do, and then, of course, your question. First, I do want to walk you through HNTB's approach to partnerships. Our approach to partnering stems from our overall client-focused sales and delivery approach. We have client service teams that prepare well in advance for upcoming pursuits, and they drive the project-specific team building. We all know that preparedness is really the key to success, not only to winning pursuits, but also for having the right team with the right core skills and that we can successfully together deliver for our clients. And this goes beyond the very large programs. This is even our approach to task orders, which you see a lot of with the on-calls and the IDIQs from our clients. And one thing, we should always apply our lessons learned to the pursuits and to our future project work by doing debriefings after wins and losses and during ongoing projects. This is really important so that we can all stay on top of how our performances as our clients' approaches evolve. Our partner firms also need to stay up to date and connected through networking, like events like these and larger industry events, as well as communication on your firm's capacity and capabilities as you grow and evolve. And we can update our database with this type of information. And it's most important for us together so that you align your firm's qualifications to specific upcoming pursuits and ongoing projects. That way you demonstrate your value proposition and we can coordinate more readily. So it's which is really important right now as our region embarks on a historic period of infrastructure. The capital program expectations in our region over the next 3 to 5 years are driven by the bipartisan infrastructure law. For highways and bridges, we're going to see the single largest dedicated bridge investment
they've got to do. And
since the interstate highway system. In New York State, we expect to receive approximately $13.6 billion in federal highway formula funding. And in addition, New Jersey and Connecticut expect over $8 billion and $4 billion respectively. For public transportation, New York State expects to receive about $11.2 billion. And in addition, New Jersey and Connecticut expect over $4 billion and $1 billion. And for Amtrak and the Northeast Corridor, we expect an historic investment of $102 billion. This will go towards eliminating the Amtrak maintenance backlog, modernizing the Northeast Corridor, and bringing world-class rail service across the country. This helps address the $55 billion in capital investments from the New York in the New York area, which was part of the NEC Connect 35 plan, and of course includes the Hudson Tunnel project. For airports, we see $658 million in infrastructure development for New York airports, plus another $5 billion in discretionary funding. And this will address aging infrastructure and projects, expanding accessibility in the airports, improving access to the airports for historically disadvantaged populations, improving energy efficiency and airfield safety. The result, based on capital programs of the clients in our region, is over $10 billion to consultants in the New York market and over $15 billion in the whole Northeast. Programs include resiliency, accessibility, and equity, infrastructure projects, both state of good repairs like tunnels, bridges, and stations, as well as expansions like the Hudson River tunnels and the Interborough Express. And then, of course, there's the airports and the port work, which you'll hear a little bit more about later. But one thing I really wanted to note about our clients are changing how their delivery models for the projects. We see primarily design services in design build and some progressive design build models. And we see program management services across our clients. And a lot of times this includes design compliance reviews, which we formally refer to as construction support services. So we must all be prepared to deliver this historic infrastructure projects for our clients, for the users, and for the future generations. So without going any further, I want to bring back Tom Grassi and Jeremy Sass, and they're going to talk through a little more detail about what we see upcoming in the architecture field. Thank you, Jeremy.
Okay, thanks a lot, Lori. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Sass. I'm HNTB's New York Department Manager for Architecture, and I'm very proud to lead a growing 24-person architecture team who specialize in transit and aviation projects all across the country. I want to take a few minutes to talk about what's upcoming for architects in our industry. Thanks to the incredible investments that Lori just mentioned, the future for transit architecture in our region is incredibly bright. All of the major transit types have significant opportunities and historic investments upcoming. So talk to you a little about each of those. Starting with airports, especially in our region, we have seen, anyone traveling knows our record passenger numbers. We've already exceeded pre-COVID traveler levels. What this means is basically every airport in the region and mostly throughout the country have embarked on massive upgrade programs to keep up with passenger flow and passenger demand. In addition to aviation bus programs, we've seen a very large switch and growth in bus programs throughout the country, specifically in the area of battery electric buses, which is a focus that many agencies across the country, many governments across the country are really starting to invest in. The transition from diesel to battery electric is ongoing in many states, specifically in New York and New Jersey, both of which have mandates to switch over their fleets by roughly 2040. Zero emissions vehicles, we also see a big uptick, in that type of technology. MTA and Amtrak very specifically have very large, significant ADA upgrade programs. These have been ongoing for the past few years and show no signs of slowing down. Between the two of them, they have hundreds of stations across the country and are actively working to get the majority of them fully accessible. So we see these programs continuing for the better part of the next decade. Also, in the Midwest, I guess outside of our region, we are seeing new system expansion nationwide. In the Northeast, we're very used to a robust transit network. But as you move to the Midwest, they're less pronounced. So we are seeing different industries, different cities begin to plan out massive new program expansions. To do this, they're going to need program managers. They're going to need architects to assist them in developing their own internal design guidelines. And they're going to need a new program for these new fleets, bus, light rail, and electric vehicles that they're bringing in. So again, nationwide, we see a lot of opportunities in that area. Flood and storm resiliency, another critical component, especially locally after Hurricane Sandy. This continues to be a very large part of the MTA and our local agencies' interest areas. And then on-site support services. Lori talked a little about this. We are seeing a lot more of our clients looking to augment their own staff by the consultant and the sub-consultant industry. So we see a lot of opportunity to support our clients in their offices in the future. What are our clients looking for, specifically our architecture clients? This is a question we ask ourselves all the time as we prepare our own strategies to go after new work. What we are hearing from the majority of the local agencies is they are looking for world-class passenger experiences, especially at their larger facilities. JFK, LaGuardia, Newark Airport, even New York Penn, all undergoing significant rehabilitation to make these world-class spaces for passengers coming into the New York area. That will not be slowing down anytime soon. Clients are also looking for experts in sustainability. As I mentioned before, resiliency, very hot topic for clients. Sustainability, especially with the newer facilities coming online, LEED continues to be a significant concern. In addition, programs like Envision and Wedge, which are also ratings programs similar to LEED, but more geared specifically toward infrastructure projects and coastal resiliency projects. We are seeing a lot more focus on these types of ratings programs from our clients. ADA and vertical transit expertise, as I mentioned, the very large ADA program that continues to grow throughout the country. The clients need more and more expertise from our industry to help them guide those programs and deliver them. And then on-site support and extension of design staff. As more and more of our agencies lose, a lot of tenured professionals who have been there, 10, 20, 30 years, they're having difficulty replacing that, local transit expertise. Currently, I have 3 members of my team working on site for clients, 2 at Port Authority, 1 in aviation, and another working for MTA C&D. So these are people who sit in the client offices 5 days a week and actually help them on their programs. And then a little more specifically, clients are looking for help with NFPA analysis. NFPA, especially 130, a newer adopted code in the local area relating specifically to rail transit stations. Our clients need a lot of help learning and understanding this new code, which a lot of them are not familiar with. In addition, program management, scheduling, and cost estimating, critical components for our clients. It is rare that we submit a well-staged design without a cost estimate. It helps our clients stay on budget and move to the next phase of design. And then last, 3D scanning and drone surveys. Both technologies are widely used by clients to help move their programs along quicker. Tom?
Thanks, Jeremy, and good evening, everybody. I'm Tom Grassi. Well, to deliver all that work that Jeremy just spoke about, we are looking for support and for partners to help us in several areas. One is architectural help with design, visioning, and overall design leadership and management. People that we can work with as partners as we design and lead these architectural projects. In addition to the design leadership is production, right? To convey to our clients our design intent and to their stakeholders, and ultimately to convey to contractors the design intent of our clients in order to get things built accurately and properly. So entities and partners who are familiar with a range of softwares, Revit, AutoCAD, MicroStation, Bentley, and certainly other presentation type software is so valuable. Different clients have got different requirements, different CAD standards, and different requirements for their document control process. So a good amount of experience and fluidity and knowledge of different softwares is so very valuable to us. So that's the architectural sort of leadership component. But in addition, we're always looking for great specialty subs who can help in very particular areas. For instance, wayfinding, signage, code analysis, somebody to help with all the ADA work Jeremy spoke about. Vertical transportation, the world of elevators, escalators, stairs is a unique area of expertise and getting the right quantity so that we can achieve that world-class passenger flow. And pedestrian flow modeling. Speaking of world-class passenger flow as it relates to vertical circulation, the ability to move people, large quantities of people in timely manners. And interior design, an important part of that is the design and the overall feeling that we're communicating and the materials that we're using, the spaces we're creating for the users and from a maintenance and operations point of view to our clients. We're currently working on a large airport project, working very seamlessly with one of our subs who's providing some great design leadership for one of 4 stations. That it's working out to be a great model where they're doing 1 station, we're doing 3, but we're working seamlessly together, really well together, coordinating. In addition, on that project, we do have specialty subs who are helping us with lighting, renderings, code analysis, and of course, our engineering partners for structural, MEP, et cetera. In addition to all that we're looking for here in New York, just sort of a reminder that we don't just work in the New York, New Jersey region, but all over the country. We've just wrapped up several real successful projects, and this is a couple of examples. A 30% design for MARTA, working for MARTA in Atlanta, an extension of Bankhead Station. We worked with Amtrak and with Boston on a South Station expansion, and with VTA in San Jose on an expansion of the BART system from San Francisco into San Jose. But we've also been working in Austin on a new facility, new transit facility there, in Chicago on a range of transit facilities, but also some of what we're doing in Chicago. And some of our projects for MARTA are not necessarily public facing, but are back of house requirements. As the facilities grow and the systems grow, the agencies need more staff, whether their own staff or extension of staff to support those facilities. So we've been doing several crew type facilities for Metra in Chicago, for MARTA in Atlanta, et cetera. So there's a world of opportunity out there, and we're looking for lots of support and help to help us deliver these great projects.
Thank you so much. That was really great, Jeremy and Tom. That was a lot to take in. There's a lot going on. And when we looked at those numbers before, there's a lot coming up.
Right.
So with that said, let's introduce Monica Durney, who's going to talk us through the business end of our business. So Monica.
Thanks, Lori. sometimes the not so fun stuff. So good evening, everyone. It's great to be with you all. I thought we'd focus our discussion on just a couple key forms that you should have readily available to ensure a timely response to RFPs, a couple considerations regarding pricing and draft contract terms during the RFP process, and lastly, just a couple of best business practices to be mindful of upon award. Really, just at the end of the day, remember you're not alone, and that's the beauty of the Partners Program. At the end of the day, you have friends here at HNTB, and we want to be supportive and contribute to your overall success. Next slide. So referenced here are a couple of key documents that you should have readily available when teaming with a partner in preparation for a proposal. So many agencies are now moving to online platforms, not only for the submission of proposals, but just housing your overall core business information, financial statements, and various disclosures that are required for firms to propose. For example, MTA C&D uses something called the My MTA portal. New York State DOT uses the CSS Web. It's called the Consultant Selection System. And New York City DOT uses something called Passport. And what's nice, by getting up with technology is that you'll get automatic reminders for the various renewals that are required. Also, just be cognizant of the qualifications, requirements, and timeline for the various small business certifications, which will vary from agency to agency. And I'm sure some of you know this can be a very lengthy process and take up to a year to get certified. Also, have your most current audited overhead. Usually the state agencies will require a FAR, Federal Acquisition Regulation audited rate, which simply just outlines the allowable costs that can be passed on to the government. And if you don't have an audited rate, whether it's FAR or just through your local accountant, agencies may allocate a standard rate, or in some cases perform a modified audit of your records and develop a rate for you. There's also something called workload disclosure forms, which outline how much backlog of work your firm has. And it may be applicable just for that specific agency you're working for, or inclusive of work that with other agencies as well. Your certificate of authority, COA, that authorizes your firm to do business within a state. And of course, your resumes and project sheets highlighting your staff talent and all the great work that you do. So really just want to encourage you to spend some time on the agency procurement contracting sites to view portal registration instructions, the specific templates, RFP samples, and just get familiar with the information. Procurement practices and processes, and obviously the timing of those based on qualifications, technical response, and pricing will vary from agency to agency. But often a draft contract will be issued with that RFP containing core terms and conditions. And the very nature by submitting on that proposal can bind you to those terms and conditions. So understanding all those required flow downs is critical, both commercially and for those contract terms. A couple notes on pricing is, 90% of our contracts with foundation clients are some type of cost plus reimbursement contract. And obviously part of everyone's goal is managing our profitability, minimizing any potential caps on our direct costs. On overhead rates, and particularly state funded contracts, understand if agencies have applied further caps or exceptions to what may be considered your allowable overhead costs. For example, MTA C&D will cap certain executive pay compensation or disallow certain state and local taxes. Other agencies, for example, New York State DOT will issue kind of an approved rounded rate based on your audited documents. So just also likewise understand whether the rate, FAR or not, is a fixed rate during the duration of the project program or contract, or is adjustable on an annual basis. Regarding certified rates, strategize your rate schedules with the timing of when the work will actually start. So understanding if you've got internal promotions or rate increases, and so that it's closely aligned with any contractual requirements regarding annual escalations. I'm also being mindful of any specific qualifications required for staff classifications, as well as prevailing wage or max wage rate schedules that may be imposed contractually. And then taking note of any other underlying contract language that may affect reimbursable of your direct cost pool. You know, for instance, MPC&D will reimburse actual salary rates as the project is ongoing, but contractually they'll impose an average rate classification rate cap at the completion once the project is audited. So in essence, if your actual cost for any specific classification goes above the established average rate that you had negotiated on the onset, you're going to have to pay that differential back. And then on draft contract and flow downs, insurance requirements is a major area we want to give time and focus to. So if you haven't received, the insurance requirements, whether through the RFP schedule or draft contract terms, then just ask. We're seeing the types of coverage required and corresponding coverage limits required are increasing. So just getting ahead of the curve and understanding what your firm can carry, what perhaps the prime can carry or the client can waive, should be well understood and addressed before proposal submission, ideally. Also, just understanding the what I call pay when paid timeline and what constitutes an acceptable invoice. For HNTB as a prime, we do ensure best practice to ensure our subs and our vendors understand the invoicing format and the applicable backup support for submission according to client requirements and due dates for reimbursement. So if that hasn't been transparent on the onset, again, ask the question. And just ensure your specific scope is clear within your contract documents and the change process notification is incorporated and well defined during delivery, which actually leads us to the next slide. And then here, I just wanted to touch on the importance of aligning, your revenue recognition and your invoicing. So in other words, just establishing a cost and cash management plan. I think many of you are aware that as a service industry, we recognize revenue based on the services rendered in alignment with progress percent complete and not so much on a cash basis. And that's really the essence of the ASC 606 regulation that the federal accounting standard boards came out several years ago. And so knowing that the majority of our services are under some type of cost plus compensation method, and there can be additive contract language that dictates certain unallowables or caps, kind of like that average rate classification cap that MTAC&D imposes. Those variables, don't necessarily have a cash impact until project audit or the completion of the project. So your firm should have a process to ensure that you're recognizing revenue according to what you will be paid at the end of the day, i.e. completion of the project. So factoring in those caps, unallowables, overhead adjustments, so that you're not taking a big hit during a project audit. And also part of that cost and cash management plan is just, what here at HNTB we call is just an internal invoice mapping, just to ensure that you are able to get your invoices in according to the requirements and according to the established deadlines. Here at HNTB, we send over 4,000 invoices a month, and we do pride ourselves as being a leader in our cash flow metrics. So for days sales outstanding compared to our industry competitors. So HNTB as a prime wants to get paid. We want to get you paid. Successful cash flow down to you as a direct result of our small business compliance goals. So if something is unclear, please ask. And ideally, if a kickoff meeting hasn't been established to go over those requirements, then again, I would ask for one. And then just want to end on a quote. So for any foodies out there, Amelia Rope was one of those MasterChef winners. So mentors don't necessarily have the answers, but they can help you find one. So again, we're here to help and answer any questions and guide you along the way. Thank you.